Zoran Mandani wants New Yorkers checked with a library card for discount groceries, but Democrats howl that proving who you are before a federal election is racist. And that one detail blows the whole scam sky high. And Chris Van Hollen just blurted the confession on camera. Now, this fight sits on one sacred nerve, whether American citizens still control American elections. Chris Van Hollen said flat out, "We will block the passage of the Save America Act," while the clock screams just 92 days until the 2026 midterms. That's not a policy dispute. That is a protection racket for the Democrat vote harvest machine, backed by Senate cowards who want recess more than they want a republic. And with Van Hollen vowing to block election security 92 days before the midterms, it's not crazy to harden your own position too before Election Day. Control of Congress is on the line. Financial markets hate uncertainty, and uncertainty breeds volatility. We're heading into a volatile stock market stretch, so protect what you've built with physical gold and silver. Noble Gold Investments has, for over a decade, helped everyday Americans protect their wealth with precious metals in a way that stays simple, easy, and safe. If you want to hedge the volatility before Election Day, go to nextnewsgold.com or call Noble Gold at 877-646-5347. Mention my name, and when you open a new qualified account, you can get a free 10-ounce silver bar. Their 10-ounce silver bar, that's right, is on your screen. And the swamp loves chaos, but you don't have to. And here's the detail that should make every honest voter furious. In Tim Walls, Minnesota, one registered voter can vouch for up to 8 unregistered people with no proof of residency. So keep that number in your head, because it turns the whole Senate recess scam into a national insult. We have this. It's not just ironic, it's hypocritical. Mandani is going to require an ID check for his grocery stores, but thinks it's racist to require one for federal elections.
How are you going to keep people from taking advantage of that, that deal, basically? And is there going to be a limit on the number of items that someone can take that are discounted at that level from that essential basket?
So our RFP makes very clear that this is a program for New Yorkers to be able to put food on the table, not a program for people to be able to make a quick buck through reselling. I'm going to pass it over to our EDC head, Jeannie Pack, to add some additional details.
Yes, if you look at our RFP for the operator, we are looking to make sure that we target New Yorkers, whether it be at sort of a library card-esque thing, and also we manage who's buying, and that is focused on everyday New Yorkers. So we are mindful of that, and so we're going to make sure that we have all the things in place to ensure that that does not happen.
Wow. So a library card, yeah, or some proof of New York residency. That's what they're asking in New York, but of course it's racist if you want to ask for an ID to vote. Elon Musk says the irony is just too rich. So let's get this straight. Mandani wants to track who buys groceries, but Democrats still call voter ID racist. Now Rick Scott says enough talk, no recess until the Save America Act gets a vote.
Judge blocked the DOJ from accessing New Jersey's unredacted voter rolls on Wednesday after thousands of non-citizens were registered to vote in the state. This, of course, comes as President Trump calls for the Senate to cancel its August recess until the Save America Act is passed, and is urging Leader Thune to scrap that filibuster. Senator, we've talked about this so often on this show, and so many Americans are so frustrated that even after the news out of New Jersey, and I'm sure many other states, we still can't get just even bare minimum voter ID, proof of citizenship. Where are we honestly and transparently when it comes to the Save America Act? Please be honest with our audience. Is there a chance that this is going to happen?
Well, we ought to be voting on it every week, and even if we can't get the whole thing passed, vote on parts of it. And I believe we ought to force people to talk. That's how the filibuster is supposed to work. And then when people are done talking, you vote. It only takes 50 votes. But that's not where we are. What we can do this week is we're going to have hopefully a reconciliation vote this week, which will get as much in the Save America Act in the reconciliation vote, which only takes Republican votes, and get that started this week. It won't be finished this week. Ron Johnson, the chair of the Budget Committee, and hopefully that's what we'll be doing all day Wednesday and all night Wednesday night to get everything we can in the Save America Act passed inside reconciliation, and then work with the White House to see what else they can do. from an administrative standpoint. I think we ought to stay up here to get things done. I'm a business guy. I work 7 days a week. We're working 2.5 days a week. We're barely up here. We need to stick around and get stuff done.
Yes, they do. He's not just demanding action. He says the Senate should stay put and work. And now we've got a list of 18 senators he calls patriots who say they'll do exactly that. Representative Keith Self. Update now, 18 Senate patriots have stepped up. They've pledged to work through recess to pass the Save America Act. Mike Lee, Rick Scott, Tuberville, Banks, Moody, Darlene, Graham, Haggerty, Britt, Young, Blackburn, Schmidt, McCormick, Marshall, Risch, Cruz, Crapo, Husted, and Lankford. That's the list right there. Those guys are willing to work. So the block is growing. The pressure is getting personal. Next up, we have this from Trump Daily Post. It's 92 days until the 2026 U.S. midterms. Cancel the Senate vacation. Pass the Save America Act. No excuses. Do your job. And they tag Thune, Murkowski, Collins, Tillis, and Senator McConnell or staff. Exactly. Who basically, yeah, McConnell's not checking his X account right now. All right. He's probably in a top secret morgue. With Trump calling out, or with Trump Daily Post calling out names and putting the Senate on notice, White House is echoing the same demand. Here's President Trump from earlier today in the Oval Office.
There's nothing more important than the Save America Act. I think they should stay. They do what they want, but I think they should stay. I think it's so important to get it passed. Yeah.
It is important. So the marching orders are clear from the top. Stay in town and get it done, but Democrats aren't hiding the game. Chris Van Hollen flat out says they plan to block it.
Well, let's be very clear. The reason that Donald Trump is insisting that the Senate pass what they call the Save America Act is to try to rig the midterm elections. And the reason for that is that what the SAFE Act does is require certain kinds of ID. So, for example, passports and birth certificates. The effect of that, Dean, is to prevent millions of American citizens who may not have that form of ID from voting. And it's their calculation that it will essentially put up barriers to mostly Democratic voters more than Republican voters, although it will hurt voters across the board. That is obviously their assessment. And we will block the passage of the SAFE Act.
We will block the passage of the SAVE Act. So he says Democrats will block it, even with non-citizen registration alarms flashing. And if you want to know why Republicans say the system is wide open, look at Minnesota's vouching rules under Tim Walz. Rapid response posting in Tim's Minnesota. A registered voter can literally go to the polling place and vouch for up to 8 unregistered people who can then vote without proving residency, no questions asked. And they link to this video of Tampon Tim.
Hey everyone, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz here. Just completed my mail-in ballot for the August 11th primary here in Minnesota. Encourage people, get your ballots in. You have until the 11th to get it in. Of course, you can go vote in person now. Early voting in person has started. And of course, you can vote on Election Day. We want everybody to get out there, cast your ballots. I will say mail-in voting and all voting in Minnesota is secure. It's safe, and we vote at higher numbers than anybody else. In fact, mail-in voting is so secure, the President of the United States himself uses it. So I'd encourage you, if you want to do this, it's going to be easy. I'm going to get this in the mail and exercise my my right and my responsibility to vote. So go get her done, Minnesota.
Did you catch what he said there? He said, we actually get more mail-in votes. Yeah, I wonder how that happens. When they print the ballots in China, ship them over, right? And they put them in the mailbox for you. Yeah, that's how you get those votes, buddy. We all know the tricks. We know the tricks. Okay, so that's the concern in plain English when voter vouching in a chain with no proof. Shifting overseas, the next clip shows why many on the right say the left's playbook is the same everywhere else. Nick Shirley if you know what happened in Spain recently, speaks with a Spain citizen who confirms illegal migrants are being imported for votes. Polls came out showing their Liberal Prime Minister was going to lose the upcoming election to a Conservative candidate right after the migrants flooded in. Check this out. Nick Shirley on the case again.
I think your politicians are allowing this to happen.
If they allow this to become the third world, they know, people in power, they know that they will be able to do whatever they want. They will increase their power because a ruler in the third world is a real ruler.
And so you're saying in a first world country where there's order, that way the politicians can't take that much power.
Yeah.
Because there is order.
The thing here is that people in power know that if they become this the third world, they will increase their power and their money even more. That's the thing, because they can control the society in an easier way. I mean, if you keep this full of third worlders, you can do whatever you want if you are in power.
And your prime minister right now, according to Polymarket, he has the second best odds of becoming the prime minister again, but his odds are very low on Polymarket. But your prime minister just created a way for over 500,000 migrants to get legal status here inside of Spain. Do you think your prime minister Sanchez is trying to up his odds and his probability of becoming the prime minister once again by importing all these migrants?
Yeah, because he knows that he has a strategy, a very clear strategy. He gets the money from the taxes, from the working people in Spain, and he gives away some help to these migrants, and then he easily can get votes. He's basically buying votes. Basically buying votes. That's all about that. It's all about power and money. People in church only want to have more power and more money. And the easiest way to do it is to fill this country with third worlders.
So right now,
that's exactly what's happening in the United States with Joe Biden, last administration. So we have this from Truth Daily Post. If someone actually votes Democrat, they're either an enemy of America or they have a serious mental issue. So Zohran Mamdani, his groceries, the IDs, the scheme, Chris Van Hollen's vow to block voter ID expose the same rotten creed. Track the citizen buying bread, but never verify the ballot that runs the country. Chris Van Hollen is not defending democracy. He's guarding the Democrat cheat code. See, President Trump drew the line exactly where it belongs when he said there is nothing more important than the Save America Act. And the Senate should stay until it passes. Rick Scott backed it. 18 Senate patriots stepped up. Good. Now, where are John Thune, Murkowski, Susan Collins, Tom Tillis, and Mitch McConnell? If one voter in Minnesota can vouch for 8 unregistered people, if New Jersey fights to hide unredacted voter rolls from the DOJ, and if Chris Van Hollen boasts that he'll block the fix, then any Republican hiding behind procedure is siding with the steal. Hit the comments with the name of the senator who needs the most pressure and send this segment to one person still pretending secure elections are controversial. So Mamdani's library card election logic is exactly the kind of insanity our Inside Channel catches before the censors can smother it. So text White House to 844-840-4963. Next News Network is credentialed inside the White House. Reports pulled straight from the building hit your phone nightly ahead of the pack and pass whatever YouTube buries. And if reading the corruption is not enough for you, well then just text Signal to that same number and enlist in the Next News Signal Corps, a citizens' comms grid with real missions, real ranks, and a command center built for people who plan to fight back.